Hello everyone and welcome to Monday Night Thunder here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. It's a new season. It is the trucks here in the Monday Night Thunder Truck Series, brought to you by our friends over at the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast. I'm Peter Short, and joining me alongside here all season long will be Garrett Gleason. Garrett, kind of a short season here, a lot on the line, a lot of thunder will be made here tonight at Daytona.
Peter, nothing like the thunder of 40 trucks heading off into Turn 1 in Daytona. I can't wait to see what these truckers have in store for us tonight. We have some old faces, some fresh faces. We have a new sponsor to TNR, but a familiar sponsor to 3Y TV. And I'm glad to be here with you to take in all the action at the beautiful Daytona International Speedway.
Yeah, we love to have Stay Tuned Sports Podcast on board here for the Total Nonstop Racing League Monday Night Thunder. There's a link to their Podbean in the description of the video here tonight. We also got some really cool stuff on board this season tonight. Garrett, we're going to have a poll for the chat here. Hopefully we can drum up quite a few viewers and we can vote on who we think our favorite paint scheme is. And I will say, Garrett, to you and I, we will reserve our votes. We will be the kickers, if you will. But it is going to be interesting to see what Daytona has. 150 miles here tonight, kind of a sprint when it comes to super speedway racing.
Yeah, absolutely a sprint, Peter, because these races are so unpredictable. You don't know if you need to go at the beginning of these races or wait till the very last lap to make your move. So tonight, with the different players in the field that we're going to have with the different strategies, it's going to be hard to tell if the winner's going to come from the front or come from the back.
Yeah, you really don't need to qualify all too well at a super speedway race to be there at the end, as you see a lot of these drivers kind of just waiting out the end of the practice session. Only a couple of trucks out there. There's Jason Shu in the number 3 machine turning sometimes. But Mike Floppy Tellier, Garrett, we know Tellier is very fast on the super speedways. He is top of the leaderboard here as we tick down. Only about 30 seconds left in the practice session before we go over to qualifying. But we're going to have a big field here tonight.
Huge field, and Mike leading off tonight where he left off last night with a win in our super speedway series. No surprise with him at the top of the board when it comes to Daytona. He is the Canadian Dale Earnhardt, and if it wasn't for luck, he probably would have about 10 trophies winning these things. So we'll keep an eye on him tonight. And this guy that's been on our camera here, Jason Shu, always a sneaky contender to get into the top 10 by the end of the night.
There's the number 22, Stephen Kegman. He has won here at Daytona International Speedway in the Total Nonstop Racing League before, but making his Monday Night Thunder debut here tonight. Checking out the chat, we got Tana Himmelman in the chat. Tana, welcome back to 3Y TV. Glad you're checking on in. We recently hit 1,000 subscribers here on the channel. It was a momentous occasion. We're now over that 1,000 threshold. Stay tuned, Sports, the series sponsor in the chat here tonight. Hopefully your commentating is better than your Giants play. I think that is directed at Garrett Gleason. My commentating will be as good as the Cowboys played on Sunday, I am sure. I'm trying to not rub it in there, Jimbo, but Cowboys are playing exceptional football this year. But Garrett, we got drivers out there on the racetrack. One of those is the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast truck. That Chevy Silverado right there, driven by James Lorello, a familiar face here on 3Y TV.
Always a pleasure to have James Lorello here in the Total Nonstop Racing League and rocking those familiar sponsor colors. How could you not root for the guy with the sponsor colors, the opening race in the Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series? Let's see what type of lap he puts out there. He's as you will probably get into, Peter, these trucks are going to run the high line, pretty much their warm-up lap and their first lap, and then get right down to that yellow line and give it all it has. Yeah,
just bear with us as these trucks load in their paint schemes. This will only happen once here, folks. But we got the Windsors in the chat. We got Redneck Flag TV saying you'll have Bradley Wilson racing here tonight. Yeah, Bradley currently out there on the racetrack, I believe, trying to get a qualifying lap in. But we also have some other new faces here to the Total Nonstop Racing League. Here is one racing the Peeps Marshmallow machine. And Garrett, I hope I say this name correctly, because this is one that I've been looking up and down. I've been You know, some of those names, they kind of catch out the commentators every once in a while. But this is Steve Bavakwa in that 101 machine out there making his Total Nonstop Racing League debut. Cool to have some new faces here as the lap times start to trickle in. Casey Miller in the 05. There he is, fastest so far.
Not a surprise, as we've seen Casey Miller run in our Thornton Graphix Grand National Series, part of that Dizzy Motorsports gang. Always is a contender, runs up front, so has the lap time, and we'll see if anybody can knock him off the pole.
Currently second on the board is Josh Sobel. There he is, sporting a pink scheme for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that is really cool to see him out there here tonight at Daytona. As I said, second fastest on the board right now. Shane Ewing, how about the number 32, the Rayovac Toyota Tundra, and of course we saw some great runs from Shane Ewing, Garrett, last season in our Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Got the win here at Daytona International Speedway in the Super Speedway race that we had. He was a little bit emotional with that win. Maybe he can back that up with a win here tonight.
Yeah, Peter, that was a very popular win in the garage area. I don't think anyone in the field was disappointed that Shane Ewing won that race. So, hey, last time we were here, he was the winner. He's the man to beat tonight as far as I'm concerned, Peter.
And how about Tim Johnston? If you were not with us 1 week ago tonight, Tim ended up picking up the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series title right here on 3Wide TV in the Total Nonstop Racing League. And here he is in the USAA Toyota Tundra here tonight, currently inside the top 5 as qualifying continues to wrap up. Just checking to see if we got any other drivers at speed. Here comes Tellier, fastest in practice, racing the number 97. What can he do here on lap number 2, Garrett?
I don't know, Peter. Mike's usually one of those guys that either he's going to qualify dead last or he's going to qualify up near the front, and there's usually no in between. It looks like 10th fastest so far, Peter.
Yeah, so he will just squeak into the top 10, just pipping Kevin Stone in the number 77 machine, who currently sits in 11th. Here comes Steven Doziak in the number 55 machine, sporting a new look here tonight, his Chevy Silverado. He's up the racetrack coming out of turn number 2. He's wagging down the backstretch. Garrett, that's usually a sign that maybe he's going to want to start in the back. He's obviously scrubbing off quite a bit of speed in that Chevy Silverado, currently 29th out of the 31 drivers who have set a time so far. Jeff Stewart out there on the racetrack in the number 72 machine, going through turns number 3 and 4. He'll be coming to the line to complete his second lap time here in just a moment. Here he is coming to the line. What can the number 72 do on lap number 2? Currently 28th, and this lap will move him up the board and put him in the, well, 28th position. It was faster, but not a whole lot faster. Checkered flag going to fall here, and for the first time this season, Garrett, we will have a driver atop the board. As you can see, we're going to go into a little bit of a heat race, but the heat race, presumably, Garrett, we did not hit more than 43 starters here tonight, so I'm sure this will be skipped over. We got Melanie Riley in the chat, rooting on Bradley Wilson. Jason Bean in the chat saying, hello all. Jason, welcome back to 3Wide TV, a very familiar face here on the channel, always checking in when the Himmelmans are on the racetrack. Same thing with Ben Adams. We'll see what they can do out there here tonight. As you got to look at the famed Daytona International Speedway, 2.5 mile super speedway. It's dubbed the World Center of Racing for a reason, home of the famed the Daytona 500. Of course, it is the Daytona International Speedway. John Canizaro Jr. saying, got the chrome and white Dodge tonight. Josh Sobel in the chat saying, time to do this. Guys, thanks for checking in here before the drop of the green flag. And Garrett, I'm sure these drivers getting one last word here from the administrators before we jump over into the main event here tonight, 150 miles.
Yeah, Peter, it's always good before the first race of the year to read these guys the rules again, let everybody know if there's a problem out there, who they should shout it out to. Don't run each other over. It's a long race. It seems silly to have to go over that, but if you don't go over that, somebody will use the excuse that, hey, you didn't let me know about that before the race. So as somebody who's been in that position before, nothing wrong with taking the extra minute or two and making sure everybody's on the same page before we go green here.
Absolutely. RC Planes in the chat jumping in. Of course, RC Planes always rooting on Philip Scott and his National Ninja machine. In fact, let's see if we can bring up the qualifying results just so you can see how close things were at the end of the qualifying session. Of course, Shane Ewing is going to be the driver on the pole, probably a very popular pole position for driver of the number 32. John Boris, 86, so a Dizzy Motorsports sweep of the front row. We've seen a lot of that here recently in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Looks like it's transferring over into Monday Night Thunder. Jamar Dumas will be on the inside of row number 2 with Tim Johnston, your Thornton Graphix Grand National Series champion there. Josh Sobel, Andrew Himmelman, row number 3. Nick Chambrone and Steve Bavakwa there, 7th and 8th. Ben Adams and Mike Floppitelli are rounding out your top 10 here tonight, G.
Kevin Stone rocking a new number, the number 77 tonight, starting in 11th position. Alongside him is Philip Scott, the number 99. Newcomer to TNR, Brian Bradley, will roll off 13th. Chris Cabot rolls off in 14th position. Bradley Wilson will take the green in 15th. Alongside him is the wild man, John Cannizzaro, who is apparently racing a Dodge somehow. Jason Gracias will take the green from the 17th starting position. And fan favorite Bill Edwards is in 18th. James Lorello will roll off 19th, and Casey Miller rounds out your top 20, Peter.
Yeah, David Batone and Alonso Chicano, 21st and 22nd. Look at those times. Look at how close all these times are. Kevin Stone there at the top of the screen. The difference between him and the drivers at the bottom of the screen, only a couple of tenths of a second. But behind Batone and Chicano will be Nick Bradley and Jeff Price, 23rd and 24th. Tristan Maher, Jason Freeman, 25th, 26th. Casey Brunson and Jeff Stewart, a couple of new faces here in Total Nonstop Racing League. They're 27th and 28th. Then back behind them, 29th, is Stephen Doziak, who is a very familiar face here to the Total Nonstop Racing League. And Gregory Gable, rounding out your top 30 there, Garrett.
Well, I'm just going to highlight the guy starting in 31st position, Hondo Longmire, because there was a little bit of a Twitter rivalry going on earlier today between the Goon Motorsports guys and the Dizzy Motorsports guys, so he's somebody to keep an eye on. Robert Kennedy is no stranger to our plate races, rolls off in 32nd. Another great guy, Vincent Valvano, is going to take the green in 33rd. And our broadcast partner, Bob Giaquinto, is in 34th position. Garrett Gleason is up here in the booth with you, Peter, but I'm glad I still made the graphic. And some of our guys who like to ride at the back, Kyle Lewis, Stephen Kegman, and Jason Shue, are going to round out the field tonight, I believe, Peter, unless there's another page.
There is. There's one more. Johnny Williams will be starting shotgun of the 39 trucks that we have here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. So we are kind of in the middle here, folks, of what is a heat race. I think it was supposed to be a 6-lap heat race for the last couple of positions here, and in case we went over 43. But Garrett, my understanding is it doesn't look like we're going to skip this particular qualifying session. So why don't we get some kind of preseason thoughts, starting with possibly tonight's pole sitter driver of the number 32 machine of Shane Ewing. Garrett, why don't you have a quick word with the 32 of Ewing?
Hey, Shane, it's Garrett. We see you're starting on the pole here, and you were our winner last time we came here in the Grand National cars. Do you think you can pull off the back-to-back wins here at Daytona?
Well, I think the best place to do it is from the front. These trucks are going to be a little bit of a handful with the closure rate being what it is, and they don't line. You'd think they'd lined up better than they do, but they don't line up very well. So bump drafting could be a mess. So you guys are going to have a fun time watching this up in the booth. I almost wish I was up there with you instead of down here. So we're going to try and stay up in front of it.
Well, we hope you stay up in front. And as I was leaving the race session earlier, I heard you giving these guys a speech about bump drafting, so it's definitely something we're going to keep an eye on. But we'll let you get back to your teammates, and good luck tonight, Shane.
Thanks, Garrett. Appreciate it.
All right, well, that's going to do it with a quick word with Shane Ewing. Let's see if we can check in possibly with our outside pole sitter, John Borst, who is, of course, the teammate to Shane Ewing. As well as I say that, it looks like we might be transitioning over here. So we'll hold that hold that thought. You can see the weather currently here at Daytona International Speedway. There on the right-hand side of your screen, a kind of a calm night. 77 degrees Fahrenheit in Daytona International Speedway. As you see, some of these drivers just now starting to get back out there on to the racetrack. Don't think they've gridded here, Garrett. I think this is a warm-up session perhaps, but it looks like we finally jumped out of the little heat race that we were going to have, and these drivers now going to have a little bit of time to go out there and maybe get some last-second preparations for tonight's event.
Yeah, I guess one final check, see how those bumpers line up in case you have to push someone. But just so everybody in the chat knows, just hang with us for a couple more minutes. I had to work late today. I didn't get a chance to check the server, so if you want to blame anyone for the delay, you're more than welcome to blame me. But our administrators do a great job, and they're not holding you here against your will. So we'll put on a good show. It's worth the wait.
So now I can officially say, Garrett, these drivers, looks like we've advanced the session one more time. 60 laps here tonight around Daytona International Speedway. Every time you come to Daytona, big talking point is, of course, the big one. Tonight, in my opinion, that's going to be the talking point. Big field. When will we see the big one? Hopefully we don't see it early. Another big talking point, $20 on the line, courtesy of Butt Kicker. Make sure you check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Because if you have a sim rig, there's nothing more awesome than adding a butt kicker to your sim rig. I mean, it is so cool adding a butt kicker to your sim rig, getting to feel the vibrations and the sounds and the bumps as these cars skip across a racetrack at 200 miles an hour. You really don't realize how much immersion you can add to a sim rig, and butt kicker is a big portion of that, and that $20 will go to a fan vote. So stay here in the 3-Wide TV chat, and we will go through these paint schemes here tonight, hopefully one by one, and you can start to get your vote in for your favorite paint scheme, because at the end of the night, someone's going to walk away with $20, courtesy of our friends over at Butt Kicker, and we will hopefully have that poll close to the mid portion of the race. But as you can see, folks, the trucks are out there getting formed up. We will have one pace lap, only one pace lap this time, next time by when the drivers are passing this camera here on the backstretch. They'll be upwards of 170 miles an hour, Garrett.
Yeah, it's the calm before the storm here, Peter, and the pace laps. Just I've had issues here where under pace laps people have run into me, so we're just hoping that's not the case tonight. These guys could get into their pacing speed, so they're with a decent distance, but not too much of a distance that they get yelled at by the administrators. And let's get ready to go green. We're doing it for real in a lap, so strap those belts tight, guys. Let's put on a good show.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We thank you for joining us here on 3-Wide TV as the field starts to get lined up for the start of the season. And Garrett, it is kind of a long season, at least in sim racing terms. It's 8 races, and these drivers are going to have a lot of fun. Pace car heads down pit road. Green flag is in the flagman's hand. Let's go racing here at Daytona. As a great start by that outside line. John Borst and Tim Johnson, the Dizzy Motorsports teammates, they have Dizzy merch on the back of those 2 Toyota Tundras. They try and push their way to the lead. That's Shane Ewing, their other teammate in the 32 down low. It's Andrew Himmelman, the number 8, the first Chevrolet on that outside line. He is trying to make some noise here as they work their way onto the backstretch.
Yeah, that high line is showing some power here early on, Peter, and no surprise to see Andrew Himmelman running up front this early on in the race. He's been chomping at the bit to get back racing in these trucks. He was tremendous in the NSRA Stay Tuned Sports Truck Series, so it's good to have him back, and we'll see if he could make it to the finish line first.
The back half of the field starting to get maybe strung out a little bit. There's 2 strategies when you come to these super speedway races, Garrett. You either want to be in front of the wreck, or you want to be far enough behind the wreck that you can slow down, stop safely, and let the big wreck happen in front of you. I know that you like the second strategy, although sometimes that second strategy can sometimes put you in a bind, but we're already starting to see that back half of the field kind of separate from the front half of the field. They're just trying to get some separation at this early stage as you start to see those cars, or trucks rather, jostle down the backstretch, led by the 86 of John Borst, and the 32 right behind him, Shane Ewing. That outside line, Tim Johnston, and then Andrew Himmelman as they start to go double file. And I expect to see a lot of this here tonight, Garrett. I think one open question is how will that outside line race versus the inside groove? So we're already starting to see here Tim Johnston going to come around, lead lap number 2.
Yeah, impressive move by Tim on the outside there, and it seems like the outside with that third truck of Andrew Himmelman tight. I'm sorry, he's in second place. The third truck on the outside line is tighter than the third truck on the bottom, which is giving the outside lane, I think, a bit of a better run here. But Peter, going back to your strategy point, if I'm just here to win this race, I'm trying to run up front now. But if I'm running for points and I want to be the Monday Night Thunder champion, I think I'm going to ride at the back here, try to avoid all the mayhem and be around at the end, because like you said earlier, the big one will be the topic of discussion. And as talented as these guys are, it's hard to be perfect for 60 laps consecutively.
And look at this new race leader, Andrew Himmelman, who started this race in the 6th position, just worked his way up to the race lead to lead lap number 3, 5 positions in just a handful of laps, and also was able to break up the Dizzy Motorsports gang, although here comes the Dizzy Motorsports 82 and the 86 working together on that outside line. Now those two teammates trying to gang up on Himmelman, and looks like Borst is going to get himself back up to the front as Steve Bavakwa in his 101 Peeps Marshmallow machine. I gotta say, I have a soft spot for Peeps Marshmallows in my heart. He is now up to the second truck in that outside line, and people kind of talk about it like a conveyor belt here at Daytona, and I think you are starting to see why here in the early running.
Yeah, for sure, Peter. They're just moving forward at pretty much all at the same pace, and if something happens, then the other conveyor belt just keeps on going. And as you can see, I mean, how many deep are we here, Peter? 12 rows deep, maybe more, maybe 15 rows deep, side by side, inches away from each other. It's incredible racing so far. Couldn't ask for a better start to our Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series.
Yeah, when you talk about side by side, you go all the way back to Jeff Stewart in his 72 machine back here. He's in the 20th position, so make that 10 or so trucks side by side here in the early running. And folks, if you want to see what it's like from on board a truck back here, well, let's jump on board right here with the number 72 as he gets a big run around the outside. Looks like that inside line just kind of gave out a little bit. He's going to suck up to the back bumper of Tristan Maher. Maher was the biggest mover of the race just a little while ago. Make that now Jeff Stewart, plus 12 spots here in the early running is Nick Chambrone there in the 01. The Hot Shoes Grill and Bar Toyota might have just slid up the racetrack a little bit. Tristan Maher not making any contact as they head down the backstretch. But this just gives you an indication, Garrett, of how much the number 72 is somewhat boxed in right now. He can't really do anything. He's got Tristan Maher in front of him. He can't just go around the outside, can't blow around him. He has to use the slipstream or the draft to stay in tow behind Tristan. But it's not like he has the freedom to really make big moves when he's back here. He just has to be patient and sift his way to the front.
Yeah, absolutely, Peter. That's the difference between Daytona and Talladega. Talladega, there's always that opportunity to go to the third line, make it happen for yourself. Daytona, it's much harder to create a third lane, especially this early on in the race. So you are boxed in. You hope that when you're in the outside lane, you hope that bottom lane checks up a bit, and you could get clear of that bottom lane. And then every time a guy clears, you move up one spot on the outside lane, and eventually you'll lead that lane, and that's how you're going to end up taking the lead if you're on the outside lane. But one spot at a time right now, Peter, and these guys are doing a tremendous job being patient out there.
Now look who has crept his way up into the top 5. The Canadian driver from Sarnia, Ontario, the number 97 of Mike Floppy Tellier. He is in the Flat Out Racing Network Toyota Tundra, second truck there on the high line. As we're starting to see some new faces start to cycle their way up to the front. The number 99 of Philip Scott is up there as well. There he is in the number 99, the National Ninja League Ford F-150, a blue truck, very similar to what we are used to seeing him run on the Monday night Thornton Graphix Grand National Series season. Behind him, though, the number 42, that's the Goon Motorsports machine of Chris Gibeau. And Chris, I really like the colors on that number 42 machine here tonight, getting a good look of that Toyota Tundra. And folks, if you're in the chat, keep your eyes on the drivers that you think have the best paint scheme, because we will be asking the chat here in just a little bit. Another really cool paint scheme here, Garrett. I was kind of taken aback by this one, is the S2R, the Silent Syndicate Racing machine of Bill Edwards. That is a really cool scheme. I mean, I kind of get TikTok vibes from it, but I also, I mean, I guess he's going for a kind of a hoonigan racing type thing. But it's a really cool look. It does not look easy to make that paint scheme.
No, it certainly doesn't look easy, and Bill's a very talented painter. And I'm not going to call him out because he has a lot of fans in the chat, but Bill is one of the older members of our racing series, and to see a hip paint scheme like that for him makes me think there's hope for the senior citizens to be, after all.
I think the correct term is experienced, Garrett. Experienced racers. That's at least what I have found. Looking a little bit further back now, Ben Adams is back there in the pack. There's John Cannizzaro in his Dodge Chevrolet. There, it's a Chevrolet with Dodge badges all over it. That actually kind of happened at one period in NASCAR history. Also back there is the number 77 of Kevin Stone, sporting a pink machine. He's the one kind of bobbing and weaving there, kind of on the left-hand side of your screen. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, the driver from Sarnia, Ontario, has weaved and bobbed his way to the race lead for the first time here tonight as we come around to complete lap number 10.
I love to see Mike racing with confidence, and maybe that win last night is with a smaller field, but he ended up completing the race first, and that's all that mattered, and gave him the confidence to get out there and lead this race and show these guys a thing or two about the Canadian Dale Earnhardt. Go get him, Mike.
Stephen Doziak in the chat saying, Garrett, he has alerted Bill that you called him a senior citizen.
Bill looks like a pretty tough guy. I think I might want to head out, Peter, so if you could handle this the rest of the night, I'm going to go hide under my bed.
Yeah, I at least called him experienced. I think that's the less rude way to say it. But Bill's a great person. I've really enjoyed racing with Bill over the years. Definitely a really good person to race around, and he's not shy to pick up something from you. Try and learn something from the drivers around you, and ask. He really is a great person to be around, and he's up inside the top 10 now on the outside of Andrew Hillman in that very striking number 50 machine as we continue to watch this side-by-side action for the lead. And one thing I'm starting to notice here, Garrett, is Tim Johnson has kind of lost his wingman a little bit. He's got John Borst there in the number 86, but as for the other Dizzy Motorsports machine, Shane Ewing, who finds himself the fifth truck on the inside line, maybe it's kind of the field's best intention to break up those Dizzy Motorsports trucks.
Yeah, if they were watching our Grand National Series, you know how strong these Dizzy Motorsports guys are, and they are as good a team as there is in sim racing. They work together, they're smart, they play the strategy right, so why give them a chance to all run together? If you could break them up, that's the smart thing to do out there, guys. Keep them from helping each other, and I don't think it'll work the whole race, but it's a good strategy early on to see if you can do it, Peter.
Yeah, the back half of the field really strung out, and is back there around Jeff Price where the field really starts to break up. Currently, Jeff Price is in the 23rd position, pretty much single file all the way back behind him. Still, it is Mike Floppy Tellier leading us as we close in on the one-fourth race distance, I should say. Technically, we just went past the 1/5 race distance, but Garrett, already this race flying by, these drivers minding their proverbial P's and Q's as Tellier has gone from just inside the top 10 in 10th position at the drop of the green flag up to the race lead now. Pretty impressive. You mentioned that he got that win just last night in the Total Nonstop Racing League in the Sunday Night Super Speedway Series, which happens during when NFL's on the TV. But it really is cool to see him out there. All right, well, one thing we are going to have to do is we're going to have to start looking at these paint schemes here, folks. So we're going to put the zoomed-in camera, and our good friends over at Butt Kicker have started to give away some money. So, of course, there you have 2 trucks, the 82 USAA machine up there at the top of the screen, and the Flat Out Racing Network number 97. Remember, keep your favorite ones in thoughts in the back of your head. The 101, the Pete's Marshmallow machine, the pink machine on the right-hand side of your screen. Then you have the National Ninja League number 99 right there. John Borst in the Dizzy Motorsports machine right there. We'll make sure we can stay on his machine. You got Andrew Himmelman in the 8 back behind him. Chris Gabot in the 42. He's right there. I love that paint scheme. That reminds me of the Intoxicated Gaming scheme. There's the SimShots number 8, a great looking scheme as well out of Andrew Himmelman. Shane Ewing and the 50 there of Bill Edwards. They are racing together with one another out on the racetrack. Casey Miller, the 05. There's the number 98 of Tristan Maher on the bottom of your screen. The Bagcraft Chevy Silverado right there. Then behind them, the 72 right there with the racing stripes. Kind of an old look to that, a retro look to that number 72 of Jeff Stewart. Josh Sobel, he's got the Breast Cancer Awareness Month scheme on the number 30. Maybe that will give him some brownie points in the chat. Jamar Dumas in the number 28 Pittsburgh Penguins machine. It looks like we have some Pittsburgh Penguins fans in the chat. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, speak up. That might be the truck for you here tonight. John Cannizzaro, he's sporting that Dodge SRT Hemi Hellcat Chevrolet Silverado right there. Kind of going a little bit outside of the box, but a really good looking paint scheme right there. Got the spec maps highlighting that machine. As he's going to drop down to the bottom side of the racetrack here, just making sure I'm not missing anything too crazy. Doesn't look like it. Alonso Chicano, the number 25, the In the Pits News machine right there. Got a really good looking ride with all that chrome and burnt orange on the side of that number 25. I gotta say, really good looking machine. Bradley Wilson is right there. I know we got some Bradley Wilson fans in the chat, reminiscent of a Kyle Busch, number 54. Kyle Busch Motorsports, a Toyota Care scheme right there as he comes on to the back stretch right there. Felt very familiar if you have ever seen those Kyle Busch Motorsports schemes. Nick Chambrone, the 01 to the inside. A lot of good-looking sponsors on that machine. The Dizzy Championship Wrestling. Garrett, I'd like to see those Dizzy Motorsports machines all wrestle with one another. That could be fun and exciting, as looks like we have pit stops happening here. We'll continue going through these paint schemes. We'll catch up with the pit stops here just a little bit. Then you have James Zorello. He's got the Stay Tuned Sports scheme on his race car right there. The number 1 of Jason Gracias with a little bit of a kind of a, I don't know, Jason's Home Improvement scheme right there. Kevin Stone, the number 77, he's got a pink look on his truck here tonight. David Batone right there in kind of an iRacing scheme. Casey Brunson in the number 10, kind of 3 wide TV colors. That kind of gives him some credit in my book, but a good looking scheme on that number 10. Gregory Gable in the number 96, retro Coca-Cola scheme right there. Very cool to see. The 43, very similar to Chris Gabot. Back behind them, you got the number 34. That's Robert Kenny in the Wingstop machine. I know quite a few people like Wingstop. Jason Freeman, Garrett, doesn't look like he had time to put anything on the number 20 truck, unfortunately. Behind him, Stephen Doziak Jr. in the Total Nonstop Racing League. And it's also got National Sim Racing Association on that rear decklet. Sports the many colors of ribbons for the many different diseases that are out there. Bob Giaquinto in the Polyhedral Cathedral number 23. Of course, he's usually alongside me for the Thornton Graphix Grand National Series. Vincent Valvano in the number 38 right back behind him. RC Excitement on the hood of that truck. Kyle Lewis in the number 18 Rowdy Energy machine. A couple of Rowdy Energy schemes here. The number 3 right there, Firehouse Grill. That's Jason Shue. And looks like we got the number 19 of Johnny Williams coming on pit road right now. We did not check out Jeff Price. There's the number 14 machine. We did not check out the number 5, SimShots race car right there has butt kicker on the side. Does that give him brownie points, having butt kicker on the side of the truck? I don't know. We checked out Jamar Dumas. Brian Bradley, don't think we checked out the number 60. There he is in the Ranger Boats machine. Very, very blue scheme. I actually really do like the blue on that car. Then behind him, Nick Bradley in the number 40. And I believe that is everyone in the field. So hopefully we got to see your favorite driver, your favorite paint scheme, and hopefully we can sort out everything going on the racetrack right now here, Garrett, because pit stops have happened.
Yeah, pit stop snuck up on us there, Peter. I thought we'd be a few more laps away than we were, and these guys seemingly all did a good job getting to pit road. I'm sure you will let our fans know if there was any speeding penalties, but you need to take a breath after going through 40 trucks and paint schemes. So that's why you're the best in the business, brother. And we appreciate you doing that, as the action up front has not dissipated at all, and they're a big pack once again.
Well, I'm just looking up and down the scoring pylon here, Garrett, and this is why it snuck up on us. Only 28th spot on back have actually pitted. So I think these drivers are trying to make it, and they did make it, to lap number 20. So as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, the field really broken up kind of into separate groupings right now on the racetrack. This is the lead pack right here. These drivers have yet to pit. It is led by your Thornton Graphix Grand National Series champion, Tim Johnston. Chris Cabot to his outside in the number 42 machine. I don't exactly know when we'll see these drivers on pit road. However, then we have some other distinct groups. The first of those groups is this group right here, led by John Cannizzaro. You can see them just now coming out of turn number 4 to the start-finish line. These drivers here, Garrett, did not take tires at all on their pit stop. Then you have another group of drivers, which is led by Steven Doziak. That group has taken some tires. So some different strategies on pit road for some of these drivers, and it's led to some distinct different groupings out there on the racetrack. Will we see some of our leaders on pit road? Looks like some of your leaders are electing to come down pit road. Here we go. Looks like your leader is coming down nice and neatly. In fact, there is Tim Johnston, who was your race leader right there. He's going to lead him down. So that just leaves us with about 13 drivers left to make their first pit stop here tonight.
Yeah, Peter, I'm curious to see if these guys take tires, as we see the right sides go up on the 82 of Tim Johnston there. So tires must be more of a factor than they usually are on these plate races, because usually when I'm in the field for a super speedway race, we do not take tires unless it's under yellow. As we see the 86 of John Borst having a little bit of a tire spin leaving the pit road on presumably old tires, but it looks like he straightened it out.
Yeah, so that might be bad for John Borst. Meanwhile, here comes another gaggle of trucks to pit road, led by Philip Scott. Looks like Mike Floppy Tellier's in the mix here. We got some others. It looks like Bill Edwards, Alonso Chicano, Jason Gracias, James Sorello, Josh Sobel, all coming in, as we might have had an issue out on the racetrack. Caution flag is waving. Garrett, first caution flag here tonight. We're hearing that it is the number 5 machine. Holy cow. This is one of those groups that had pitted early. And what the heck just happened here? This group right here. And oh my goodness, car gets spun up into the stratosphere. That was Andrew Himmelman getting launched into space. Problems with drivers coming off pit road. And that's going to do it. Himmelman and Adams, both trucks are junked.
Wow, Peter. It looks like the 101 was across the track, but whether or not he got spun or hit by somebody, I'm assuming the old tires, somebody didn't take tires and they had some tire spin trying to get up to speed. It's happened to me a few times here, as we saw the 86's problem that I alluded to earlier. And we have guys going 3 wide, and just, yeah, that's not going to work. 101 gets spun across the track by the 17, and these 4 guys just nowhere to go. Andrew Himmelman, I hope they did not put a deposit down on his college tuition, because he might not be needing it after landing there, Peter.
Yeah, going 3 wide on pit road exit. A couple of other bystanders getting involved. Look at Casey Miller, the 05 machine, doing all he can to avoid it. Ben Adams in the 5 getting some heavy damage. The 01 of Nick Chambrone involved. Jamar Dumas in the 28, the Pittsburgh Penguins machine. That was a very difficult accident to avoid. I mean, especially if you're the number 8 machine of Andrew Himmelman, really nothing he could have done there. Just a car getting spun across the racetrack, and just like that, it's night over. Here we go on board with the number 8 machine. You know what we do here on 3Y TV? We give the gyro cam a workout, and it went up and over. Hopefully you folks don't get seasick, but the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman, who had such a promising start here tonight, the SimShots number 8, coming to a halt, and that car has been retired from the event. And man, Garrett, that's just such a tough one to call here. We'll go and get this one more look, and it just gets turned up the racetrack 3 wide off of pit road, and even Bavakwa there in the 101 getting airborne.
It's a very tough one, Peter, and it's almost one of those that if I was administrating this race, I'd be like, come on, guys, that was so avoidable. But without being in everyone's vehicle and knowing what somebody saw, it's hard to put that blame on someone. It looks like the 17 just turned the 101, but knowing Tristan Maher, I know he certainly didn't just turn the 101. He either didn't know he was there or didn't know he was 3 wide, and there was a reason for it. It wasn't just someone being mad or whatever it might seem on the surface. So just unfortunate. Ben Adams is the one who took the lead and put the series together, and to see his night ending and his steps on Andrew Himmelman's night ending so early, it's a heartbreaker.
Casey Miller had quite the look out the front of the 05 machine, able to slalom his way through all that mess. That was a big accident for sure. One of the biggest we have seen here on 3Y TV in quite some time. The pace car lights have turned off here, and we will get back to racing here briefly. Ryderly Angle saying this is iRacing trying to quietly debut airplane racing. Yeah, we got some airtime. Ryderly Angle saying someone got mixed up. This is auto racing, not battle bots. Did someone catch the number of that spaceship? I think the spaceship was the number 8 machine, unfortunately, of Andrew Himmelman. Stay Tuned Sports in the chat saying quietly leaves the room after saying Andrew's name earlier. Yeah, if you're not familiar, there's a little bit of a running thing there with Stay Tuned Sports rooting for Andrew Himmelman. I think Tana will probably say it's best you not root for him there, Stay Tuned Sports. But that was it. First big accident of the season. We did have Michael Valvano in the chat saying, was that the big one? I don't know if that was the big one, Garrett. That was only about 4 trucks. Granted, those 4 trucks got tore up pretty darn good. But I don't think that's the big one. I think the big one is still yet to be seen here tonight as we close in on the halfway mark here at Daytona International Speedway. On lap number 30, folks, we just went through. If you did not catch it, we'll give you some time to go back as the pace car heads down pit road. We'll let you go back. We went through the field, all the trucks, looked at all their paint schemes. Green flag waves again. If you missed it, go back, look at all the paint schemes. We want to know your favorite. Lap number 30, polling will open, and it is a free-for-all in the chat. We will only count your vote once, so only vote once in the chat. Let us know what truck you think has the best paint scheme here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. The winner will get some iRacing cash, $20, courtesy of our friends over at Butt Kicker. But Garrett, we're back racing, and Philip Scott and Mike Floppy Tellier battling for the race lead here as they go through turn number 3.
Peter, I'm glad you threw it back to me because I wanted to give everyone in the chat a spoiler alert, if you will. We might not know who's going to win this race. We might not know who's going to win the $20 from Butt Kicker for the best paint scheme, but I will absolutely guarantee that there is one person that will not win the best paint scheme, and that's Jason Freeman. What a pathetic display having a blank race truck out there tonight. And I know it wasn't his fault. We actually tried to help him, and it didn't get uploaded correctly. But just all in good fun. Let's hope we can continue our good racing tonight. And if at least Freeman has the series decals on, Peter. I guess he met us halfway.
Yeah, F in the chat for the number 20 machine out there. It's kind of hard to miss. Strikingly white. But up at the field, I want to make mention of this driver right here. I actually don't think we caught his paint scheme, but this is a really cool driver, folks. And he is the only Brazilian-born driver in the field. Does not live in Brazil these days, but Fernando Matos, he has 3 wide TV logos on that car. Fernando has been a longtime friend of 3 wide TV, going back to when we used to broadcast the league that was solely for disabled drivers. And Fernando is a driver racing with a disability here. He's racing for CP there on the side of the car, of course, cerebral palsy. And Fernando doing a stellar job, as he always does here, not only in the Total Nonstop Racing League, but here on 3 Wide TV. It's great to see him back in the field with the trucks here tonight. It's been a while since we last saw him here on 3 Wide TV in the Total Nonstop Racing League. But Garrett, it's great to have Fernando back, and he's having a good run of it right now in the 13th position.
It's awesome seeing Fernando back, and I'm glad to have him back. I stay in touch with him on Facebook the best I can when he's not racing with us. And he's just a great guy, and he's a tremendous racer. We could say, okay, he was in the league with disabled racers. He deserves to be in every league he's in because he is that good out there, Peter. And I'm hoping he can bring it home for a good run tonight. And I hope he sticks with us the rest of the year because it's a pleasure having him.
Yeah, hopefully we can see Fernando make a charge here in the Monday Night Thunder. There's another big thing that happens Monday night in the wide world of sports, but Monday Night Thunder in the Total Nonstop Racing League is where you want to be, as we are halfway this time, 75 miles in the books here at Daytona International Speedway as they go across the start-finish line, and only 75 miles left to go as Mike Floppy Tellier will cross the start-finish line at the cross flags symbol as your race leader here tonight. RC Plains in the chat rooting for the number 99 as the polls are now open. So let's hear who you want to say or who you think has the best scheme out there. If you missed them, go back later or go back earlier in the stream. We might have to tally the votes as things go on. But now voting is open. If you've already voted once, paste it again. We want to know who your favorite scheme is out there on the racetrack. I gotta say, that number 96 there, Garrett, running third in the inside line, I kind of like the old school vibes of the 96 of Gregory Gable. There he is, old school Coca-Cola, has the polar bear on it, got the old school Burger King logo. I kind of like that. That's retro. That's a throwback to the Coca-Cola racing family. And look at that. Even the polar bear's got some cool glasses on it.
Yeah, I like that scheme as well, Peter. You have a good eye. It kind of reminds me of the childhood commercials around Christmas time with the Coca-Cola bear, maybe even for the Super Bowl. So definitely a soft spot in my heart for that. It's a nice paint scheme.
All right. Well, the votes are coming in. Thanks for voting and being here. $20 on the line for the best scheme. And Stay Tuned Sports, voting for the number 13. That's the one he sponsors. So I don't know if that's cheating or not there, Jimbo. But you know what? It is what it is. Milton Matos in the chat rooting for the number 24. I got to say, I am always partial to the schemes that Fernando runs here because Fernando has some really awesome schemes. And, of course, he's got the 3-wide TV logo on his truck as well. How cool is that? He's now a little bit further back, been shuffled back to the back half of this pack. I'm sure he's not all too concerned. Still plenty of laps left to be turned here as Mike Floppy Tellier is continuing to work his way around the racetrack. But just looking at the scoring pylon here, Garrett, we're down to just 32 trucks now on the lead lap. There's 33, about to be 32, as Nick Chambrone is the next truck to go one lap down. But Tristan Maher, involved in that accident, just went one lap down in his number 98. He is definitely not up to full song after being heavily beaten up in the one and only accident we've had up to this point. Unfortunately, it happened coming off pit road where the track kind of narrows. If you're just now joining us, it was pretty hefty. Michelle Rogers in the chat saying number 50 for the senior citizen. I think you've started something here, G. I'm not sure if Bill Edwards will be all too kind, but that number 50 is one heck of a good-looking speed.
Yeah, I said earlier in the chat I really like the number 18 of Kyle Lewis as we see somebody getting stuck to the wall there in the track, Peter. But that 50 of Bill Edwards, the effort that went into that, he definitely deserves the votes out there. And I'm just glad it's not past his bedtime at the home yet. So I'm glad they're letting him stay up and race before they put him down for the night and tuck him in with a glass of warm milk. So thanks for sticking up with us, Bill.
And it was the number 86 of John Borst. That was the driver that we saw make contact with the wall. Took off the right side of his Toyota Tundra. We saw him be so fast earlier in the race. We'll have to wait and see whether or not Borst can get that thing back going in the right direction. Sometimes when you scrape the wall... Oh, contact! The 13 goes up the wall, and connection issues for James Lorello. And where is Lorello? Lorello is gone. He's not on the racetrack. And we stay green flag. Looks like the yellow flag finally being thrown here. Not sure if there was some more drivers involved. See if we can go back and try and break down what happened there. But James Lorello getting turned up into the wall. I can only think that, that was some connection issues for the number 13 machine.
Either that, Peter, or Jimbo's check only cleared for like half the race and he just decided to take it to the garage. But I'm going to guess connection issues as well there. I mean, do you see anything else? Could he have gotten that loose? I don't think so, right?
Yeah, I don't think so either. Unfortunately, it looks like the number 72 machine right there, Jeff Stewart, also kind of catching the wall in that madness, but we will be under the caution flag for the second time here tonight. Luckily for the back half of the field, they'll get all caught up. iRacing did not naturally throw the caution flag. There is your race leader, Jason Gracias. He's trying to catch up to the iRacing pace car, which is just now coming out of turn number 2. And that might just barely, Garrett, get us in the window where we can make it to the end of the race on only one more pit stop. It'd be interesting to see if we see some different strategies on pit road this time, because we saw some drivers make it 23 laps. We're going to be 23 to go this time. Excuse me. I think you have to come down pit road here, right? I mean, come down, take fuel, get into a spot where you can make it to the end of the race, and hope that you don't lose enough track position and get caught up in the big one.
Yeah, Peter, I think you definitely have to come down pit road here. I'm curious to see if guys will top off at 1 to go, and we will see if once they get into their pit window, if they can only make it 20 laps. I'm curious to see if guys come in right at the 20-lap window, get out in the pack with a couple of guys they trust, and hope it stays green and that they could pass everyone else when they pit. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on, as it seems like perhaps... nope, Jason Gracias was faking us out, as usual, putting on a good show. So let's see what these guys do, if they do fuel only or if they take on their set of tires and plan for a fuel only stop later on in this run.
Yeah, we'll see. All these drivers coming down pit road and coming into their pit box, led by the number 1 of Jason Gracias. You see all of these trucks. So many good-looking trucks here tonight. It's going to be difficult for the chat to choose the best one. That's for sure. Of course, Garrett, you and I, we will be the deciding kicker. If there's a tie, we will tally the votes, and we'll tally them at some point. Hopefully we can jot them down. Kind of a little bit difficult to do while broadcasting. Perhaps maybe someone can help us out. Maybe someone like Ben Adams or someone like that. Of course, Ben Adams has been the main liaison with our friends over at Butt Kicker. Make sure to check them out, thebuttkicker.com. As you see some other trucks down there, like the 86 of John Borst there, Garrett, getting some of that damage fixed from that contact that he just had with the outside wall a little while ago.
Yeah, it's a good time to get the damage fixed. You're not going to do it under a green flag pit stop, so take advantage of these long yellows here at Daytona. Probably about 2 minutes long to get around this track under caution, if I'm not mistaken, as we see Mike dropping back here. But I just wanted to say, it seems like our early leader in the chat is the number 99 of Philip Scott. We even had the National Ninja League itself come in and comment that they like Philip Scott's paint scheme, so we're becoming big time, Peter. I hope this doesn't change our contract negotiations for next season.
I don't think it will, but this driver here might need some different contract negotiations next season. That is Mike Floppy Tellier. Speeding penalty on pit road. Won the race off pit road, Garrett, and now he's going to lose all that track position, go all the way to the tail end of the field. And the Canadian driver who's been so strong here tonight is going to have to race his way from the back if he's going to want to win this 150-mile Stay Tuned Sports sponsored race here tonight.
He's certainly capable of it, Peter, but we were talking earlier about the Dizzy Motorsports guys, the Goon Motorsports guys, the S2R guys, and we didn't get time to shout out our TNR original guys, Mike, Jason Gracias, guys that we grew up with, essentially went through puberty with. I mean, I went through it when I was 18, so it's a little different than you probably, but guys like that, seeing them run up front and having a shot to win the opening race of the series is a big deal to us as old school TNR guys. Not that we're biased, Peter, but it certainly warms my heart that if I can't win, one of our brothers could pull it off.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking about this just the other day. Total Nonstop Racing League, I joined back, I think it was in 2005, maybe even 2004. One of those years back when all it was a Pro Boards forum. If you remember Pro Boards back in the day, that's all Total Nonstop Racing League was. And it was a group of people who used to play the EA Sports game together, even before there was real online in those games. And eventually we moved over to the NASCAR Racing 2003 season, probably around 2006, 2007, thereabouts. And that's where we picked up some of these drivers, like Jason Gracias. Gracias was not one of those drivers who raced the EA Sports games with us, but he sure enough made it over to our group in the NASCAR Racing 2003 days and has been around ever since. Green flag, however, is back in the air here in Daytona Beach, Florida, at the Daytona International Speedway. The 42, Chris Gabot, is your race leader. However, in the number 42 machine, he's up front for the first time here tonight with Tim Johnston, your Total Nonstop Racing Thornton Graphix Grand National Series champion, who's been up there in the top 5 all race long, Garrett. That number 82, second on the inside.
I think we started calling him Mr. Consistency, and I think that's what they call him on Twitter as well. He has an uncanny ability to just be in that top 5 all race long, and sometimes you hardly notice it, Peter, but he's always there. And it's crazy. But, Peter, if you can, did anyone stop and top off, especially the back of the field? I saw a lot of cars in the inside lane, single file, and I'm just curious if you have that data.
A couple of them did, yes. They're kind of towards the back of the field, those ones that did top off. Looks like Casey Brunson came down, topped off with fuel. Alonso Chicano topped off with fuel. Bradley Wilson topped off. Robert Caney, John Borst came back down. Kyle Lewis, Jason Shue, Steven Doziak, Mike Tellier came back down pit road after his... Oh! John Canizaro going to the racetrack. They're trying to wreck, and Bill Edwards goes around. The 05 goes around with him. The 50 and the 05 going around on the backstretch, and there they are. Car scatter everywhere. Caution flag waves.
That was one of the more cartoonish wrecks I think I've seen, Peter. They seemed like they were wrecking for eternity out there. Let's see what happened on the replay here.
Yeah, this is one that's going to be a little bit difficult to actually kind of dial up because no one really, at the end of the day, no one really wrecked in what we would typically say a big wreck. Let's see, there was contact there. John Canizaro comes down, and then Canizaro gets into the side of one truck, and then they kind of causes this snowballing effect. And these trucks here are the 50, the 05, and one other truck. I could not make out who that was, the bright blue machine. Uh-oh, there was some more going on back there. Johnny Williams getting involved, looks like, with our good friend Bob Giaquinto. Let's see if we can sort out what happened to the 23 and the number 19 as well, and see if this was just kind of at the end of this accident. Here we go, on board. Let's go on board here with the Rowdy Energy number 19 of Johnny Williams. You see drivers starting to scatter everywhere. And Johnny's okay at this point. There's the number 23 of Bob Giaquinto. Oh, the 60 comes up, clips Giaquinto, and the number 19 of Johnny Williams. So I think that was the 60 there of Brian Bradley. Sure enough, it was, who kind of went for a little bit of a ride himself. flipping a couple of those drivers there, Garrett. And let's see, here he is trying to come back on the racetrack, gets into the grass right here, and when he does so, just barely clips Giaquinto. Tough break there for the 23. Hopefully not a lot of damage on the 23 or the 19 as, man, Johnny Williams almost took off the nose of the 23.
Yeah, it doesn't look like any of these guys are going to have terminal damage, so that could be the best part of that bad situation there, Peter, and it might get everyone in the fuel window, but just the number 60 out there, he probably was just in a panic, wanted to get back on track, didn't want to lose his track position, and sometimes your eagerness is the worst thing out there, so I'm sure the admins will tell him, hey, your spot's safe, like just next time get on the track a little bit safer, and we'll live to fight another day. So one of those deals, Peter, as we're watching the replay again, it was in slow motion to begin with. It seemed like, Peter, you're really slowing it down to give us a better look here.
Yeah, super slow-mo here on 3-Wide TV. A great save. I mean, a mega save from the number 66 of David Batone. Just unbelievable because he got pretty heavily hit. Look at Josh Sobel squeaking on through in the purple and pink number 30 machine. He's going to probably need a new pair of underwear, but a really, really good save from the number 66 right there in the center of your screen. Let's see if we can go back and see maybe from onboard a look and see what that number 66 saw when that contact happened, because you're not going to see a whole lot here. Just watch that steering wheel. Watch the hands of the number 66. Here's the contact right there, and he just kind of very gracefully keeps it going straight there below the yellow line, and all the madness happened behind him.
Yeah, that's a tremendous job there. And for those who are watching at home that don't race in iRacing, and it's so difficult to see when something happens ahead of you with these spoilers and the way these trucks are. And for as many of these guys to get through that accident as they did is a testament to how talented they are and how aware they are of their surroundings. And we just had a word in the chat that John Casaro is apparently taking blame for that. He said the spotter said clear, didn't see anything in his mirror, and it just wasn't accurate. So tough break there. Let's hope these guys get back rolling and get their damage repaired, and we'll see what kind of strategy plays out now, Peter.
Yeah, so caution flag out, I think, for the third time here tonight. And really, you have to say that the accidents have not been all that bad. We've had a couple of caution flags. I mean, beyond the one where we saw the number 8 of Andrew Himmelman go flying across the racetrack. There is an airport on the backstretch. Daytona International Airport is just off the backstretch here at the racetrack. But Andrew Himmelman taking flight, what you don't like to see, in a truck. Also saw the 101 machine take flight, and unfortunately those drivers have taken flight from the racetrack. Both of them have retired. Shane Ewing in the 32 also taking his car to the garage. Tonight's pole sitter, Garrett, going to be credited with a 36th place finish. Steve Bavakwa also going to be credited 37th. Ben Adams 38th. Andrew Himmelman in 39th. We did have a couple of drivers have an extended stay on pit road. Bob Giaquinto came down for a 2-minute pit stop in his 23 machine, so he's now a lap down. Casey Miller, James Arello, Jamar Dumas, all one or more laps down. As we go back to green, just 16 laps left here at Daytona International Speedway. Green flag waves once again. Chris Cabot is your race leader, G.
Chris Cabot and that Goon Motorsports, the Goon World Order, leading them off here into turn 1. Jason Crosses and Philip Scott are nose to tail up in the top lane, but it looks like the bottom lane has more cars as Philip and Jason are all alone up top.
Good restart for the inside line. You see already starting to possibly separate there. Some connection issues on the number 24, Fernando Matos. The fourth truck on the outside line. Looks like that sorted itself out as we get a little bit of a breakaway. The 77 of Kevin Stone starting to creep his way into the top 5 for the first time here tonight. Been a quiet night for the number 77. Meanwhile, the number 99 of Philip Scott, he's one of the fan favorites, obviously, in the chat, been keeping tabs on the votes. And maybe, Garrett, I don't know if you have an opportunity to start tallying them. Maybe we'll have to tally them after the race. But if you have not voted for your favorite paint scheme here tonight, there's $20 on the line for the best paint scheme at Daytona, and I think Philip Scott currently has the lead. Also, the number 19 of Johnny Williams appears to have a good number of votes. But speaking of the number 19 of Johnny Williams, he's about to go a lap down. He's up in the wall as everyone starts to scatter. Oh, he comes down into the racetrack, and there's contact towards the back of the field. That will bring out the caution flag.
Well, Peter, that looked pretty bad, and if I don't really have anything nice to say about that, so I'm going to reserve my judgment for the replay.
So we'll see here on the replay, the number 19 of Johnny Williams gets up into the wall. We'll put it into slow-mo here. People are going 3 or 4 wide to get around him, and Johnny Williams right here, he's still up against the wall. He's trying to keep it up there, Garrett, and it then starts coming down the racetrack right there, and there's, unfortunately, James Lorello, nowhere for Lorello to go. Not sure if that was intentional, and then the 55 of Steven Doziak gets involved right there. The number 60 of Brian Bradley involved in that accident as well, but unfortunately, a couple of good race trucks taken out.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Johnny wasn't up to speed there, and I don't know what he was doing, to be honest with you, Peter. Either keep it up on the wall and let the guys pass, but the hard left is what confuses me. I understand you want to get your truck unstuck from the wall as soon as possible, but when other trucks are driving past you at 180 plus miles an hour, it's usually not a good idea, as Johnny had nothing left of his truck to begin with, so probably not the best decision Johnny's made in his life, Peter.
Well, let's go back and see this, because it almost looks like, let's watch the hands. Let's watch the hands. I wonder if maybe because he's trying to keep it up in the wall, but right there was a little bit of a wall opening, and you can kind of see all of a sudden the truck kind of gets loose. I'm not sure if that was necessarily him trying to bring it down the racetrack, but just watch the pitch of the car here. He's trying to keep it up in the wall. And then right there, it just, all of a sudden, it seems like the suspension starts to give out on the truck or something, and then just comes down across the racetrack. Probably one of those things, and then that's when he tries to, I think at that point, he's trying to just get it off the racetrack as fast as he can. He knows what's going on, but I just wonder if that's kind of one of those iRacing things where he gets kind of almost sucked into the wall. I mean, we see that sometimes where drivers will get literally sucked into the wall, and it's like all of a sudden they get thrown across the racetrack. On board from James Lorello, absolutely nothing he can do. Right down into Brian Bradley, and he goes around there. Steven Doziak got a quick peek of the 01 machine of Nick Chambrone squeaking his way through that madness. Really unfortunate. I mean, you could say, oh, maybe Williams could have been in a different position there in the number 19, but Garrett, I think I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt there. And it looks like Jamar Dumas is going to get one of his laps back. That iRacing and the wall, sometimes it's a little bit of a crapshoot, unfortunately. And I think right there, it didn't work in Williams' favor. And I think that could be a lesson learned going, on into the future. That sometimes just kind of throwing it up into the wall and keeping it against the wall is not the best idea, as hopefully that we might have had a little bit of a hiccup here on YouTube. Just getting word that maybe I dropped a couple of frames there, not exactly sure why. Looks like things are back up good and strong here as we have 12 laps to go this time. Tim Johnston, your Grand National Series champion, brought to you by Thornton Graphix, is your race leader. Mitchell Adams in the chat, Garrett saying he is here in time for the finish. Indeed you are. Welcome in to 3 Wide TV here tonight. Make sure to like tonight's video if you haven't already. We're up to 15 likes. Let's see if we can punch that up to 20 likes here before the end of tonight's Monday Night Thunder here. 12 laps to go. Garrett, we just need 5 more likes to hit that 20 like goal. I think we can make it.
Yeah, maybe if I apologize to Bill for calling him old, we'll get a couple more likes. So, Bill, I am sorry. Please tell your family to like this video, and I will give you a hug after the race. Virtually, of course, because of COVID protocols. But, Peter, 12 laps to go. A lot of these guys, their friends, their teammates may have been taken out. Your friends or whoever's going to work with you here, and we'll see a lot of strange alliances as we get ready to go back green for these last 12 or so laps.
Yeah, absolutely. We're up to 17 likes according to Stay Tuned Sports. Thanks for the likes trickling on in here tonight, folks, as you can see the field go on by the backstretch camera. Field doubling up for the restart. It'll be an 11-lap shootout. And Garrett, we haven't really seen the big one here tonight. I mean, we've seen some big accidents. That was just there a big accident involving the number 13 Stay Tuned Sports Series truck. Brian Bradley involved in that one as well. But we haven't seen, in my opinion, the big one. Can these drivers keep these trucks square all the way to the end? It will be 11 laps to go, just over 25 miles, when the green flag waves again for Tim Johnston, who has been up at the front for basically the entire race. He leads Jason Gracias to the start-finish line. Chris Cabot in the 42, the 99, Philip Scott right there. And then how about John Borst, the 86, had a long pit stop a little while ago to fix some damage. He's now back into the top 5.
Peter, if you're in the field and your truck is running at this point, you have a chance of winning this race. And that's the thing that people love when you come to Daytona. And I'm one of those people, I cry at movies. I'm that person. I love a good story, and there's nothing better than a Cinderella story here at Daytona, somebody getting their first TNR win. And selfishly, that's what I'm rooting for tonight, Peter. Somebody to just come out of nowhere and win this race and shock the world. Can't wait.
A little bit of 3 wide further back in the pack. How about Mike Floppy Tellier? He was up the front, got a pit road speeding penalty. He's now back up towards the top 10. So some of these drivers able to make some move. You can also see some drivers a little bit further back who are now damaged from several of the accidents that we have seen here tonight at the 2.5 mile super speedway. But it is now Chris Cabot in the 42 up to the front of the field. We'll keep our eyes on this. We're down to just 10 laps to go. The Windsor's in the chat saying the big one is due. Johnny Williams says it was just trying to keep it on the wall and it just cut left. That's kind of what it looked like happened there, Johnny's. Connection issues on the number 96 machine. Gregory Gable, third truck on the inside line. You can see everyone start to break up down there as the number 40 of Nick Bradley is starting to creep into the picture. He has Rocket City on the hood of his Toyota Tundra. 9 laps to go. These drivers really letting these laps click away fast.
Yeah, if you were waiting for the end of the race, there's not really much time left, Peter. You got to start making your move because you'll run out of race in a hurry here at Daytona, especially when you said with the conveyor belt earlier and how hard it is to get a run when you're boxed in. But we have guys making their way into the top 10. You alluded to the number 40 truck, and Josh Sobel, the number 30, has had a solid, quiet race all night long. And he's someone that needs a good finish, needs luck to be on his side for once, and he's somebody that could definitely pull this off.
And we just got a quick look there of John Borst, who's now working with his Dizzy Motorsports teammate. So the Dizzy Motorsports machines teaming up once again. Here's Tellier on the outside line running behind Alonso Chicano. We know those two can pair up together. Here's Josh Sobel looking at the back of Philip Scott, who appears to be the fan favorite here tonight for the most popular vote for paint scheme. There he is in that blue and white machine, and looks like they're going to leave Jason Gracias up there on the high line here, Garrett, as we're coming down to just 7 laps to go this time by.
It can't be because of Jason Gracias' personality. He's one of the nicest guys out there. He helps everyone. He always is willing to push someone to the front. It has to be because they're intimidated that Jason Gracias is always a contender at these play races and wins them more times than not. I think they all said, let's get him out of the picture for now and see if he can make his way back up here. One less person we have to worry about. I think that's what they did just there, as that top lane all moved up one position, as the 96 was having a little bit of issue in the corner there, but has it straightened out.
Yeah, this is a strong field here, Garrett. We still have about 20 trucks in the lead pack. 7 laps to go. Tim Johnson continuing to lead. He's trying to pick up where he left off last week as the series champion here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Has his teammate right behind him in John Borst, as that outside line starts to break up just a little bit. Back around Alonso Chicano. Now Robert Kenny, he's going to jump to the high side. He's in the Wingstop machine. We haven't really mentioned his name a whole lot here tonight. Now he kind of gets shuffled up. He's trying to work with Josh Sobel. And now Philip Scott in the number 99 machine. And Garrett, I think for the first time here tonight, we're really starting to see not just bump drafting, but slam drafting here at Daytona, as we're 3 wide for second.
Yeah, if you've been tuned in waiting for the big one, you might be in luck because it could happen at any moment now. But it's time to go, Peter, and you were showing Alonso and Robert Kenny and Mike, and I was just ready to say those guys are going to work together and get to the front, and they all jumped out of the line. Philip tried to go 3 wide, and it's not over yet, this battle for the lead.
6 laps to go, and we're 3 wide for the race lead. How about this? Tim Johnson on the inside. These drivers holding their line. All of a sudden, now Philip Scott and Alonso Chicano using that high line, starting to drop back, but the field really bunching up here as we're coming to 5 laps to go. I know, Garrett, in my mind, 5 laps to go is when the bell starts to ring. That's when you have to really go for it. Robert Kenny giving a huge shove to Chris Gabot. Gabot's going to stick with the number 34. That 34 of Robert Kenny has really crept into the picture as there might have been a load of bump drafting in the corner. Chris Gabot might have just got a little bit loose. Good job to keep the Goon Motorsports 42 underneath them. 5 more laps, 12.5 miles here at the World Center of Racing.
Peter, I'm keeping my eye on that 3rd lane led by Philip Scott. I'm curious if the 30 of Josh Sobel gets clear of the 99, if he's going to jump up with him and try to take a chance at getting this lead. 5 laps to go. These first 2 rows look strong. Looks like they're sticking with who they're with at this point, but anything can happen here at Daytona.
The chat saying, here comes the wreck here. Kenny now going to jump up to the high line. Look at this pack. We're 3 by 3 by 3. Kenny going to drop down to the bottom. Going to leave Josh Sobel up there on the high line. There's contact. Sobel in the 30s in the wall. And we're going to go 4 wide. And here we go. The 54 goes up into the wall. Now the 12 of Canizaro's involved. Yellow flag waves here at Daytona. Looks like the 18 Kyle Lewis getting involved as well. Unfortunately, the 54, I know one of the fan favorites here tonight, involved in this accident, which brings out the yellow. We will have a green-white checker here at Daytona. But my, oh my, that was absolutely crazy. Let's get a look at this one from the 3-wide TV camera, because it all started on the left side of your screen. Maybe a little bit of net code. Garrett, Josh Sobel gets loose. He goes up the racetrack. Keep your eyes on the 12 of Canizaro here, because he goes up the racetrack, tries to back off to avoid the incident, but there was just so much momentum in the field and maybe some net code with the 72, and unfortunately it all kind of started right there. 4 wide at Daytona, usually not all too good, and unfortunately Bradley Wilson in the 54 machine looks like he's going to get the bad end of the stick.
Peter, that's plate racing. It sounds simple, but that's just what it is. And my heart's broken for Josh Sobel, because there can't be a Josh Sobel fan out there that doesn't have gray hair, because every time you think he's going to pull it off and have a run, he is just the unluckiest person out there, and it's just terrible to see. And this is pretty incredible here, and what a job getting through that accident there by Bill Edwards. I guess they didn't take his license away from him, Peter, and his reflexes are still pretty good.
Yeah, I think he might have actually had better reflexes than whoever was behind him, because there was definite contact right back from behind. Let's see if we can see right here Fernando Matos, see what he saw of this. There's Kyle Lewis in front. He tries to slow down. He did slow down and just trying to squeak his way through, and unfortunately gets a piece right at the end as the track really did get blocked up there in turn number 3 and 4. So a couple of these drivers kind of towards the back of the field getting involved in this late race accident. You can just see how jumbled up they were. And man, Bradley Wilson there in the 54 just gets tossed up into the wall, and that engine grenaded for the number 54 machine.
Well, a lot of guys caught up in that one, Peter, not going to have the finish they wanted to start off this season, but it's just like gambling or rolling the dice or whatever you want to say, Peter. You don't know if you're going to get out of Daytona a winner or a loser, and there's always a lot more losers in racing than there are winners, as just chain reaction damage, guys going through the infield. And let's see how many trucks we have left with 2 to go or so here. Maybe a green-white checker.
Yeah, going to be the first attempt at a green-white checker here in the Stay Tuned Sports Monday night Thunder here on 3 Wide TV. RC Planes in the chat says, nearly jumped out of my chair when the 30 hit the wall. That was almost a big one. It was a big one. Still, Garrett, all things considered, I've seen big ones much worse than that. That was... I think those drivers did all they could to try and avoid that, and unfortunately it just came up just a little bit short. The Windsor saying Bill made it through. Indeed, he did a fantastic job for him. Ryder Lee Angle saying that's the problem with 4 wide. They become more dominoes than race cars. That's one way to put it. Ben Adams saying these guys are putting on a show. Indeed, they are. I mean, that 3-4 wide racing that they had, severely impressive. That's not easy to do here at Daytona. Michelle Rogers saying, okay, I like the page. Now the senior citizen needs a hug. Michelle, we really do appreciate it. We just hit 1,000 subscribers here on the channel a little while ago, and we're looking forward to many, many more. Melanie Riley saying, good run while it lasted, Bradley. Bradley, first time here in the Total Nonstop Racing League. Garrett did not put a foot wrong here tonight. We're looking forward to seeing him back next week here in the Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series.
Yeah, Peter, and I want to just say to everyone in the field that you guys all deserve to be here. You've done a tremendous job out there. These races are tough. We understand that, and we appreciate you being here, part of our Stay Tuned Sports Monday Night Thunder Truck Series, and I hope you all show up for Atlanta because that track is fun. Multiple grooves. You will have a blast, and hey, this is only the tip of the iceberg here, guys. We're going to keep showing what this league has more and more as we're getting ready to go back green here, Peter. But let's see what these guys do in these last 2 laps. Hopefully that was it for the big one, and now we could have a good run to the finish.
Yeah, it is an 8-race season going all the way up to December 6th this year, and Daytona, Atlanta, Nashville, Fairgrounds, Michigan, Darlington, Talladega, Richmond, and Homestead, Miami to round out the 8-race season. It's going to be a lot of fun here on 3 Wide TV. It's kind of a season within a break between the Grand National Series. But the green flag is back in the air. First attempt at a green-white checker here tonight. Robert Kenny in his Wingstop, number 34, leads the field towards turn number 1 here, Garrett. These drivers, I think once they get to the backstretch, things are going to start to get interesting.
It's going to get interesting, Peter, and I'm keeping my eye on that number 1 truck of Jason Gracias, because if there's someone that wants to be on camera and show us what he's all about, he'll be the first one to pull out and make either a hero of himself or end up on the wrecker.
And Garrett, these trucks are unstable. They're bump drafting, they're slam drafting, they're doing all they can to try and jostle for a position. And as you can see, they've kind of broken themselves up. Great job by the field, a little bit of give and take, but now we're kind of have a group back here that are going to have to suck up to the front pack. Tim Johnston, they're going to come to the white flag here, Garrett. Once the white flag waves, that's going to be it. There's going to be no more attempts at a green-white checker. We will finish 1 lap from now. Tim Johnston with a push from his Dizzy Motorsports teammate John Borsay, almost bumper hook. Going towards turn number 1. Look at Alonso Chicano now. Oh, Porsche gets hooked. And there's the big one. The big one's going down back behind. There's cars going everywhere. Cars upside down. Josh Sobel upside down. Fernando Matos in the 24 machine. Cars everywhere. Meanwhile, somewhere up at the front of the field, oh, your leaders make contact. The 82 and the 34. Who's going to win it here, G? Looks like Johnson's going to duck in behind the number 34, going to try and slipstream his way to the win. Here we go. The 34 throws a block. They make more contact. Here we come to the line, Garrett, for the checkered flag.
This looks like an NHRA drag race, Peter, to the line, and I'd rather be the second place person in that scenario, and it looks like Robert Kenny pulled it off, and Mr. Consistency, Tim Johnston, comes up 1 position short. He lost his teammate there in that big one. And who's that we have finishing in 3rd, Peter? Mike? Is that Mike?
That's Mike Floppy Tellier somehow blasting his way through the carnage, and it was carnage. Somehow Jason Freeman comes home in 5th, and they're still wrecking. The 72 machine, Jeff Stewart, comes home in 5th, but what a huge accident on the final lap. Holy smokes.
For those in the scrap business like my father is, this would be a great occasion to go get all those parts that are laying around out there in the track, Peter. But for racing, it's heartbreaking to see these guys not be able to finish this race. But there's one person that doesn't care what happened, and that's Robert Kenny, as he takes the checkered flag and now is going to celebrate with his teammates out there, and Mike coming home on the podium as well.
And Robert Kenny, Garrett, he didn't lead a whole lot of laps here tonight. He wasn't even up there inside the top 5 until late in the race. Put himself in that position to get home the win And what a way to finish it off. I mean, 2, 3 wide bumping, cars getting sideways. They were absolutely slam drafting there coming down the backstretch after that restart. I mean, just such an incredible finish to the race here tonight. And I wonder if he's out of fuel or blown the motor or something, because Tellier might have to give him a little bit of a bump draft here, as the wing stop number 34 has come to a halt on the start-finish line here, folks. If, there we go, as he finally found the gears to get that thing turned back around. But what a unbelievable finish. Riley Angle said, would any car finish? The Uxinator says, and everyone wrecks. Stay tuned, sports, saying the carnage. That was crazy. What a finish. All those drivers. It was a great race. A great finish. Garrett, one of the best races I've seen here at Daytona. It's a shame a lot of them are going to end up on the flatbed going home on the record, but they put on a show for the fans here tonight. Everyone wanted to win at Daytona.
Everyone wanted to win. Everyone wanted to put on a good show for Stay Tuned Sports and Jimbo, and they certainly did that, Peter. There's nothing to be ashamed about. I'm taking the glass half full approach tonight. This is what this series is capable of, and as we go to a track next week where talent matters a bit more, you're going to see all these talented drivers. And that's not to take anything away from the guys that had a good run tonight. But next week, it'll be about guys who can drive, and we have plenty of those in our league.
That's for sure. Atlanta Motor Speedway next week is going to be a lot of fun. That is for sure. I'm very much looking forward to it. Of course, we do have some post-race interviews. Hopefully, we can get with some of these drivers. Robert Kenney still absolutely burning it down here on the front stretch. I'm just looking to see if Robert Kenney is actually even in the chat. I know Mike Floppy Tellier is. So, Garrett, why don't we start with tonight's third place finisher, driver of the number 97. We'll let you take it away and see if some of these other drivers start to show up here. Garrett, take it away with our good Canadian friend, Mike Tellier.
Mike, you must be a lot lighter without that monkey on your back after the win last night, coming home in third place tonight. Give us the breakdown of how your race went and how you wound up in third place when the checker flag dropped.
Can someone do pit stops for me? Because I shot myself in the foot and I sped exiting, trying to beat, I think it was Chris Gabot or one of them Goon Motorsports trucks off of pit road for the lead there in one of the cycles, and I had to go all the way to the back. I thought my race was over. But no, it was a good race. Led a bunch of laps. That was fun. Had a plan there fuel wise, and talk about crazy racing 3 wide for like 5-10 laps in a row. It was nuts. I can't believe we held on to it. I don't even know what brought out the caution. Everyone was still going forward. What happened, Garrett?
I don't know, Mike. So much has gone on. I've had such a long day. I let Peter handle all that stuff. But just to take everyone behind the curtain a little bit, Mike, you're one of the head administrators here in the Total Nonstop Racing League, and obviously you allude to the great racing out there. From an administrative perspective, what have you seen from the series? Because Peter and I didn't get to be on track out there, so you saw the 3 wide racing. Did you see some of these new drivers? Did they have the TNR talent that we look for in new guys?
Yeah, the new guys, they seem like they could hold their own and, could follow a line and, do what you got to do to go fast and around Daytona. Although there was someone, I'm not sure who it was. He was in a white and blue truck, seemed to get in the wall and wrecked half the field behind us as the leaders went by. And not sure who that was, but he might be someone to look out for.
Yeah, 10-4 on that, Mike. We'll have to figure out who that was. But heading to Atlanta next week, a track that has multiple grooves. You've definitely had many laps there. What are your thoughts going into Atlanta with this group of competitors that you have out there?
I'm hoping tires don't wear as much as I'm afraid they're going to wear. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a pretty good race. Passing might be an issue, but I think in general, the racing is going to be good.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing you out there next week. And if you could find the race winner, Robert Kenney, and get him into our interview waiting, we would appreciate it. Thanks,
yeah,
buddy.
for sure. I'll look for him. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, well, that's going to do it with tonight's third place finisher here. And unfortunately, Garrett, does not look like either our second or third place finishers, Tim Johnston, or, sorry, our second place or our race winner, Tim Johnston and Robert Kenny, are in the chat and available for a post-race interview, unfortunately. So we might just have to cut things a little bit short here tonight in our post-race discussions. And, you know, sometimes that does happen. Sometimes they're not always available for an interview. And, of course, you know, sometimes there's also time constraints as well that come into the real world racing. And who knows, maybe they just had to go to the restroom after that extremely long race. I don't really know. But in the meantime, we want to give
found Robert Kenny, Peter. We found him down here on pit road.
We found Robert Kenny. Okay, well, maybe he was out there, like you said. Maybe he had to go to the restroom. Maybe something like that. But he is your race winner here tonight. And here we go. Robert Kenny, Peter Short, 3Y TV booth. Get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, dude, victory lane for you here tonight. We had hardly mentioned your name all night long. All of a sudden, there, about 10 laps ago, you creep your way up into the top 5. And there you stayed. And what an epic battle to the checkered flag with you and Tim Johnston. Talk us through your race here tonight.
Yeah, I don't blame you for not talking about me all race. I was mainly staying in the back, trying to stay out of the wrecks, and also having the Red Sox playoff game on my second screen, so I didn't want to get into anybody. Yeah, once 10 to go came, I'm like, all right, let's put the game on the back burner. Let's focus on the race. So try to make my moves, get up to the front. I was stuck in the bottom for a bit. Then once they started shuffling up front, going 3 wide, I shot it up the middle to push the guy. I'm not sure who it was, but I pushed him to the front. I thought I got him clear a couple times, but I guess he just didn't want to go down. So I faked him out a bit, took the third lane up, and then dove to the low lane to make sure I wasn't hung out to dry in the middle. And then that second to last caution came out, and green my checkers like hope I get enough push and help to get the checkered, but unfortunately they wrecked off 2, so it was just 1-on-1. Basically, just tried getting positioning while side drafting, and then it was all mirror driving through 3 and 4, just making sure the guy stayed behind me. And luckily, our bumpers didn't catch, and I wasn't hooked, and somehow I got the W. I'm still shaking a bit, but it's a good result.
Yeah, definitely a great result for you to start off the season as the points leader. Is always a good feeling, that's for sure. Next week we go to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, quite a bit different than tonight's Super Speedway here at Daytona. What are your thoughts about Hot Atlanta?
Depending on what the weather is, it could be full throttle Super Speedway racing again, or if it's hot enough, the cars will get slick and we'll actually have to do a bit of driving. So I'm looking forward to it either way. Just hoping not to get into wrecks and hopefully get top 5s out of the whole series. It's always good to win, but I don't go for wins. I go for a consistent top 5, top 10 to finish.
Well, a really, really good run for you here tonight. Looking forward past Atlanta Motor Speedway, we got a race at Nashville Fairgrounds, Michigan, Darlington, Talladega, Richmond, and Homestead, Miami. Any other races that excite you to round out your season?
Not really, but the one race that I kind of loathe going to is Richmond, because I hate short tracks with a passion. Yeah, other than that, to just keep my head down and keep chugging on and moving forward.
Well, a great run for you, a great win here at Daytona. I know you probably got some shout-outs you'd like to give out, so let's hear them.
Oh yeah, shout out you guys for excuse me, you guys for broadcasting, admins for putting on the race, Wingstop, Sim Speed Shop, Astro Gaming on on the truck. I know I'm forgetting something, but I don't want to keep you guys too long with me and my bad brain. So we're all good.
It's okay. We always forget stuff up here in the booth. So you're at home up here in the 3Y TV booth. And of course, you make this your home here tonight with the win here in the Stay Tuned Sports 150. Robert, thanks for stopping by and go celebrate.
All right. Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
All right. That's going to do it with Robert Kenny. And I think we have a little bit here, Garrett, of someone who might try and redeem himself. And we're hearing, I don't know if he needs to redeem himself at all. Maybe he needs to slap you in the face. But this is Bill Edwards, who had a stunning looking number 50 here tonight. And Bill, I hate to break the news to you. Perhaps your parents already have, or maybe someone else has. I think Doziak said he might have told you. But Garrett here, I think he called you an old timer or something like that here tonight.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
Well, you know,
yeah.
what a
I'm not
night
that
for
old
you.
yet. What's that?
So what a night for you. You seemed like you were up and down the charts, getting involved in accidents, not getting involved in accidents. Garrett thinks that you're not that old after all, because it seems like you still have some really good reflexes out there.
Right. Yeah, no, not that old. I'm in my 40s somewhere. Yeah, there was a wild race though. That was fun. I was just trying to dodge all the wrecks. I thought I made it through that last one. I just caught the tail end of that one and got turned. Otherwise, I think I could have brought home probably a fourth, because I was coming out of there with full speed right down. I went right down the middle. I had to turn a couple cars to go through it, but yeah, it was a fun race though. It was definitely a white knuckle race.
It definitely was a white knuckle race. And of course, you were kind of in the mid pack for those last 15 or so laps as well, which I'm sure just added to the white knuckles a little bit more. Atlanta next week, Bill. I know you tend to run fairly well at that 1.5 mile racetrack. And any other races on the schedule that you're interested in?
Oh no, I'm ready to race all of them. Atlanta should be fun. I do like Atlanta a lot. Hopefully, it's a little bit loose. Yeah, it should be a good time. It's a good start to the season. This looked like an exciting race from my point of view.
Well, it was exciting all the way to the end. We had the leaders beating and banging to the checkered flag. We had a gigantic wreck on the final race. This is definitely going to be one that stays in the memory banks for quite some time. Bill, before I let you go, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, yep. Got to give a shout out to 3Y, TNR. Got to give a shout out to Stay Tuned Sports for putting all this on. Garrett and everybody that goes through all the hassle every week of dealing with these close to 50 different personalities in here, and all the guys out there on track, and us to our teammates and my mom.
All right. Well, Bill, I noticed you did not give a shout out. You didn't give a super shout out to Mr. Garrett Gleason. Maybe in your bad books here tonight, but I just called you experienced, because you're experienced out there. So hopefully I'm still in the good books in the Edwards household, or the Edwards' household. So have a good night, and we'll see you next week at Atlanta.
All right, take it easy, guys.
All right. Well, Garrett, he didn't slander you too bad. So I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay.
Well, Peter, I'm still going to lock my doors tonight, but the thing I love about Bill is he is always laughing and having a good time. Whether it's Monday night, Tuesday night in the stadium trucks, that he enjoys doing this, and it's a treat having him here. So, all joking aside, good run for Bill tonight, finishing in the top 10 with the couple incidents he had.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to bring up the final race results here tonight. We are going to have, after this, one more look at that final accident that happened on the final lap, just to see how it all went down, because it was absolutely crazy. Hopefully we can go back and see that. Sometimes you can't. It just depends on how happy iRacing is. Robert Kenny takes home the win. Tim Johnson in second. Mike Floppy Tellier coming home in third, limping his 97 to the line. Jason Freeman 5 seconds behind in fourth. Jeff Stewart in 5th. Nick Chambrone coming home in 6th. That Dizzy Motorsports machine was damaged at one point here tonight. Great job to battle back for 6th. Stephen Kegman gets a top 10. We didn't mention the 22's name a whole lot tonight. Tristan Maher in 8th. Bill Edwards, we just got a word with him in 9th. And Casey Brunson rounding out your top 10, G.
Well, good run by all those guys there, sneaking into the top 10. Our friend Bob Giaquinto comes home in 11th, just outside the top 10. Bob, couldn't you do a little better for us up here? Brian Bradley with a good debut, coming home in 12th. Jason Shue making his way into the top 15. Ando Longmire finishing in 14th. Still love the Goon Motorsports guys and their paint schemes. Philip Scott, who was a contender all night long, Peter, and probably the winner of our $20 best paint scheme competition, comes home in 15th. Nick Bradley in the number 40 comes home in 16th. Vinny was pretty quiet out there tonight, coming home in 17th, and Jeff Price in 18th there.
Yeah, just looking a little bit further back, Alonso Chicano 19th, John Borst 20th, Chris Gabot 21st, Jason Gracia is going to come home 22nd. He won't be all too happy with that. Gregory Gable in that good-looking Coca-Cola 96, 23rd. Josh Sobel in the 30, 24th. Kevin Stone 25th. All these drivers involved in that last lap accident. Fernando Matos 26th. David Batone in the 66 after a great save that he made, finishing 27th. And Bradley Wilson, I know we got Bradley Wilson fans in the chat here tonight, rounding out your top 28, G.
Yeah, these other guys all involved in incidents out there in one way or another. John Cannizzaro coming home in 29th position, not where we usually see him running. Kyle Lewis had a bad break, got run over there under a yellow, coming home in 30th. Jamar Dumas, who is one of the administrators of the series, 31st, not what he was looking for. My good friend and teammate Steven Doziak, 32nd. Johnny Williams is like family to me in 33rd. Casey Miller in the Dizzy Motorsports machine coming home in 34th. James Lorello not having a great night for the sponsor in 35th. Shane Ewing started on the pole, wound up in the 36th position. Steve Bavakwa in the 101 had a nice looking Peeps truck out there, and not the start to his season he was looking for as well. Ben Adams, Andrew Himmelman, not going to be many people happy in that house going to bed after this race, and Garrett Gleason was not even in the race in 40th there, Peter.
Yeah, that Garrett Gleason guy finishing last again on 3 Wide TV. Let's talk about Butt Kicker. So www.thebuttkicker.com. They put up $20 here tonight to the fan favorite paint scheme, and sure enough, the number 99 of Philip Scott finishing in the 15th position takes home the best paint scheme of the race. So congratulations to Philip Scott for picking up that extra cash, and big thank you to the friends over at www.thebuttkicker.com. If you have a sim rig and you want to take it up a notch, more than a notch. If you want to get your butt kicked when you're out there in your sim rig, well, go buy yourself a butt kicker, the most immersive addition to a sim rig that you can get. It makes the deep rumbles, and you can feel the bumps and the vibrations out of the engine with a butt kicker. It is absolutely game-changing, so make sure you check them out. Big shout-out to them here tonight for sponsoring tonight's Butt Kicker Challenge paint scheme of the race award. But that's going to be just about it for all of our post-race antics. I know a lot of people in the chat probably wanting to see all the craziness that went down there on the final lap. So let's see if we can kind of, nope. It's saying no thank you. Oh, yep, yeah, never mind. It is. Here we go. Garrett, let's slow this down. We'll get rid of, well, I don't know why the thing has popped up at the top of your screen, folks. You're just going to have to live with that. I guess maybe we'll see if it comes back up. There we go. Okay. So it all happened there, left side of your screen, and John Borst and Jason Grossi is making contact, and it's kind of on from there. Good old sign right there in the way, making top-notch quality. There you see, looks like Tellier squeaking on through some of these drivers in the back. Look at this, 96 going flipping right there. This is on board with Stephen Kegman in the 22 who worked his way through. Car is just absolutely going up and over. The number 10 going back. Look at Chris Gabot. Remember, he was up there towards the front of the field. The 42 getting wrecked. Fernando Matos going upside down. And somehow Kegman's just rally crossing down here in his number 22 machine. There's more contact. Tristan Maher, Jeff Price getting together. These drivers just kind of getting all tossed around. Look at that carnage. Look at Josh Sobel coming back down the racetrack. Alonso Chicano, Kevin Stone getting sandwiched there in the 77 machine. Garrett, that was just a nasty accident late in the race. Let's see if we can pick up Where's one of these drivers? Let's look at Chris Gabot here. He was third on the final lap. Gets tossed, thrown up into the wall. Look at Bill Edwards squeaking on through. One car, 72, going up around the 66, slamming into the back of Vincent Valvano, the number 38 machine. Just, my oh my. Craziness on the final lap here at Daytona. Look at Bob Giaquinto trying to squeak on through in his machine. Just absolutely nuts. Here we go. Let's check out Bill Edwards' onboard here. See how he made it through all this carnage, Garrett, because it's about to get really messy here really fast. Trucks start to go everywhere. He's kind of just barging his way on through. Oh, yeah, just got a piece of it there at the end. Blown motor, still finishes in 9th. Absolutely crazy. What a look at that. That's a parking lot in turn 2.
Peter, I haven't seen a wreck that bad. I don't think ever since I started racing, a year and a half ago or so. That was crazy, but all these guys were going for it. They wanted to win this race, and how could you blame them? A strong field. This race means a lot at Daytona, and they left it all out there. And you know what they say, checkers are wreckers, and we certainly had a lot of other wreckers out there.
Yep, look at it. Look at it. Just parking lot. Look at Tristan Maher. Hello, Tristan. There you go. And Bob Giaquinto's coming around in the 23 machine, throws on the brakes, and the Polyhedral Cathedral Chevy Silverado squeaks on by. But geez, that sure enough was a pretty big accident to round out tonight's event. But folks, big shout out to the Stay Tuned Sports Podcast for Monday Night Thunder here on 3 Wide TV. Thunder really struck there on the final lap, that's for sure. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. And until we meet again next Monday night at 8:30 Eastern Time, folks, stay safe, have a good time, and we shall see ya.